Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Keeping Up with the Windsors live show. Hi, Rach, you okay?
Hello. Yes, I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. My name's Michelle. If you don't know us or this is your first time coming to our live show, welcome, Royal Community. We've got so much to talk about. Rach, can you give us a little synopsis of what's coming up in the show today?
Yeah, so last week we mentioned that Sophie's was visiting Tanzania, and so we've got a little bit of information about Sophie's trip. And as you can see from the title, is Sophie holding the brand royal together at the moment? Like,
Yeah, and we'll probably have a go into a bit of a discussion about that because, yeah, it we'll keep that for a bit later.
yeah.
Rach, what else have we got coming up?
And we've also got some Anne news, some Princess Royal news.
Yay, the Royal Hobnob! Woohoo! We've missed her. We have missed
We
her.
have, we have. So, yeah, as always, Royal Community, if you've got any questions or comments, any thoughts, leave them in the comment section and we'll read some of them out at the end of the show. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Shall we jump right into Sophie's trip to Tanzania?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
So I'm going to be looking down at my notes for this because I can't remember this single-handedly. So the Duchess of Edinburgh had a 5-day trip to Tanzania last week, and on her first day, Sophie visited UK-funded Magomeni, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, health centre, which provides critical sexual health and family planning services through the UK's £67 million scaling up family planning programme.
Wow.
Yeah. So on that day as well, Sophie also visited the Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Task Force, which brings together experts to combat human trafficking and child sexual violence. In the evening, the British High Commissioner hosted a reception celebrating the UK-Tanzanian health partnership. And here, Sophie shared her ambition to eliminate trachoma across the Commonwealth by 2030. 2030, that's not far away, really, when you think about it, is it?
No, it isn't. And I tell you what, when I didn't hear very much of the speech, but I know that the king gave his kind of best wishes and well done, congratulatory kind of words of you know, well done everybody, because this is such an amazing thing to do. And I had to then Google what that was. I didn't actually know what was it.
Trachoma. Yeah,
Trachoma.
trachoma.
Yeah, and so it is, she says, looking at her notes, trachoma is a contagious bacterial eye infection that can cause blindness and visual impairment. And Rich, this can be prevented if you get it early enough with antibiotics. And this is one of these programs being put into place. So it's absolutely amazing that they're being able to do that.
Yeah, and if you've listened to our podcast before, we've spoken many times about Sophie's work within this, because if you didn't know, Lady Louise, her daughter, had a eye condition when she was which she was born with, and she had surgery to correct that. So it's something that Sophie's very passionate about, and she's worked in this field for years. And there was actually a video released on the royal family socials where she was being interviewed and her passion was just shining through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's the global ambassador, isn't she, for is it International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness? I always
Yeah.
try and remember that one.
I've
Absolutely.
got that written down somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so Sophie visited a trachoma outreach camp at Malanzi Healthcare Centre, where she saw trachoma screenings and surgery and heard more about the progress being made to rid Tanzania of the disease. And as you said, Shell, she is the global ambassador for the prevention of blindness.
And she was in her scrubs. Did you see her, Rach?
She was.
Yeah.
And what I loved about these photos and some of the footage is you could tell that she was really interested in the information that she was being given.
Oh yeah, this is a passion project. It is her life's work and it really shows in these engagements.
Exactly. She then attended a reception organised by the Tanzania Horticultural Association in partnership with UK and Tanzania to engage with innovative horticultural businesses which are promoting climate change efforts. And here, Sophie announced the launch of the Horticultural Exports Accelerator Programme, which is a UK-funded programme to support women in agribusiness and promoting climate adaptation.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And you think we always say this, but these trips, Sophie was only there for 5 days, and as you can tell from what I've been saying, there was a lot crammed into these 5 days.
Oh, yes. And also, this was a trip that was basically asked for Sophie to go from what did you say it was? The British High Commission, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she's going on behalf of the UK and with their partnership with Tanzania. So these these things they're talking about health, they're talking about what is it, like equal rights, and also I, I'm gonna say it. Sophie doesn't shy away from hard questions, from hard. She went to that engagement. I'm literally just looking here now. For anti-human trafficking and child protection, the task force to go and meet them. Those are hard things to come away with, because you're hearing stories about some of the people that have been involved in this. That's a hard hitting thing, and she doesn't mind anything like that. She's in this shining the light on these causes, and I think she was the perfect member of the royal family to go to Tanzania for this trip in particular. And I honestly champion Sophie and all of her engagements and what she really loves to do, which is bring that awareness to those causes, because they are so needed. And as we were saying about the prevention of blindness as well, some of the solutions are already out there, and that's what she said in one of her interviews. That's it. Like, we've got the solutions. Let's just get it to the people who need it. And so, yeah, I really championed this. I really enjoyed seeing this and following her through Tanzania. How did you feel about it, Rach?
Yeah, just touching on what you said, I think, we've spoken about this before. Like you said, like Sophie doesn't shy away from these sort of subjects, and they're really important topics that need to be discussed more. And it's just great that Sophie can shine light. And I think it's important as well because Sophie has been doing this work for years, absolute years. She's been a global ambassador for the prevention of blindness for years as well. And we've said it time and time again, it's not until the Queen passed away that we really got to see Sophie's work. And it's such a shame that her and Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, they have been kind of flying under the radar when the Queen and Prince Philip were alive, because you had, Catherine and William, you had at the time Prince Charles, and the Duchess of oh my gosh, what were they called? The Duchess of Cornwall.
Oh, Cornwall. I was like, hang on a minute, who are you talking about?
Yeah, I forgot that Queen Camilla was called the Duchess of Cornwall. Yeah. But she has always done this work, but it's not until we lost those members of the family that the work really started to be pushed to the forefront. And we've said it time and time again, Sophie and Edward, we feel like, deserve their own social media channel to really highlight the work, because the work isn't reported on in real time. So this post, it wasn't until, for example, that the trip ended that they did like a summary, whereas if it was Queen Camilla's work or the King's work, it would have been reported on that day. And it's such a shame. And most of the information that I've got wasn't actually from the royal family socials, it was from the UK and Tanzania socials. And that video that we spoke about where she was being interviewed, if there is like a little highlight that you can go on and click on that, and it takes you to the UK and Tanzania. So if you wanted to have a look for yourself and have a look to see what Sophie's been up to, then have a look, because it's just a shame that we don't get that first-hand account from the actual royal socials.
Yeah, and also I completely agree with you with that. we also just get a blog. Like, there isn't any videographers, there isn't any little snippets they put on socials. They're just pictures, which is great. We're still getting pictures. We are still getting a blog post of those engagements. But I do really feel like in a very visual age now, that's kind of like a bare minimum, right?
Yeah, and particularly in the social media age where anything and everything is uploaded online as soon as it happens, right? It's on Twitter, on X, it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok. So if you've not got if you know that something's happened, like we as royal fans, we knew that Sophie was in Tanzania. Well, where is the information? I'm having to look at, we've said this before, other fan accounts or the actual source of where the country she's visited. So it's just a shame in that sense. But I don't think they will get their own social media account.
Hmm. Well, we'll go to the question that we're going to pose this week, and that is Sophie holding the royal family together? You know, the brand royal. What are your thoughts on this, Rach?
Yeah, I think just touching on what I just said as well. I've seen Sophie today she's back in the UK. She's been on an engagement. Again, I've seen it on Twitter. And it wasn't on the royal socials. It was through photographers. I don't know if they've posted her engagement yet, but it seems like she's the only one out there at the moment. We haven't had. We'll go into the Princess Royal in a moment, but we've also had the Princess Royal out this week. We've had Edward on a few engagements. Where's that being posted? I'm seeing Sophie, but not through the royal socials. It's from other sources, like I said. So I don't know. It's kind of hard, and I think we'll kind of see. I think we kind of have to get, as royal fans, we have to get through this year because we're not going to see Catherine a lot this year for the rest of the year. We'll probably see her on Remembrance Sunday. We probably will see her at her Carol concert in December. I don't think we're going to see her go back to work until next year. And so it really makes you think, well, if Catherine's not at work, William has cut back his engagements. Sophie is doing so much work. It needs to be highlighted more because that then bears the question, well, what are we actually paying the royals for? We know they're out there working, but to the people that are not royal fans, not royalists, are anti-monarchy, that just poses an argument for them as well, doesn't it?
100%. Absolutely. I'm wondering as well, because we've got such a slimmed down monarchy, and that's even without thinking about the King and the Princess of Wales's health. Wondering why there is a big issue about them having their own social media. Like, why can't they have their own socials? It makes no sense. It's not as if there's like a lot of people now that are, vying for that spot. Just let them have their own space. Let them have their own socials, because I really do believe that they'll have a really big following. Fair enough. They're not, the big draw when it comes to the royals, but I tell you what, the one thing that really held me together as a royal fan was seeing Sophie when the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, when he passed away, and also when the Queen passed away, because she's got so much humanness that comes through when she talks. And I I feel like on those moments in particular, she really resonated with how I felt. And obviously, she's a member of the family, so she's going to feel it way deeper in a massive way, way more than obviously royal fans would. But there's a real spark there with Sophie and obviously with the Duke of Edinburgh. We just don't. I think I laughed on the we've if you're just watching this on YouTube, we do have a royal podcast that we have lots and lots of episodes on. And on one of the episodes, I laughed and said, I think this is the first time I've ever heard the Duke of Edinburgh speak, because like Edward, like it was nice to hear him in one of the engagements. But again, because we just get pictures, we do not get many times where there is a video or a real spotlight. I know it takes money and time and whatever, but they are doing the work, and they are representing the royals. So I do think, especially this week, Sophie's an absolutely excellent job, and I think yes, possibly she has held the royals together, but we've had little snippets of other engagements around the sides, but I guess in a way she was the main course this week, you know. So yeah, I would probably agree with that sentence. She was holding the royals together, but that doesn't mean there wasn't anyone else doing anything. You know, we saw William today announcing the Earthshot Prize finalists, and obviously as well you're going to go on to the Princess Royal in a minute, but we've had a little kind of taster of other bits, but yeah, I'm gonna say yes. She has been holding the royal family brand together this week. So my answer is yes. What's your comments, royal community? Let us know in the comment section below.
So moving on to the Princess Royal, she
Aha!
attended events in the Netherlands to commemorate the Battle of Arnhem. Arnhem. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, which was the largest airborne operation of World War II. Anne, who is president of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, attended a service where she was joined by veterans, armed force personnel, and the public in remembering those who served and lost their lives. And then back in the UK, today she held investitures at Windsor Castle, which is the first time since summer break.
Yeah. And the investiture, one of them was the gentleman that fought for the post office race. Did you see him? Is it Alan? What's
Yes,
his name? Alan. I can't remember
I
his
can't
second
think,
name.
no.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, what a trooper. He has got that group of people through such an ordeal. They still haven't been paid. Anyway, we won't go on to the post office scandal right now. But just I'm so happy that he was rewarded today. And yeah, it just feels like all is well with the world when we see the investitures coming back after the summer, you know? Yay!
Yeah, and I think, we've mentioned in Sophie, we've always said, we've always said Anne's the workhorse, like she's always on engagements. And I think in a way, when you think about the slimmed down monarchy and how that's going to pan out over the next few years, it's interesting because when Anne had that accident a few months ago, it was kind of like, oh, Anne, like, because we're so used to seeing her just go, 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 like three
Yeah.
engagements in one day. The woman's in her 70s, for crying out loud, you know?
Yeah. And again, it was like, oh, we know she does so much, right? The engagement she does in a day is like immense. And when she wasn't there, and then Catherine wasn't there, and then the king wasn't there, wow. That's a
Hmm.
lot of engagements to either rebook or to stop or cancel. Um yeah, it's been a sad time for royal fans. I don't want to like bring the mood down, but yeah, I'm hoping onwards and upwards as we move forward. But we did hear, Rachel, I know you mentioned about the carol service, and it's something I want to bring in because Petra has left us a comment. And she said, I'm excited to read Princess Catherine has started planning for her Christmas concert. Have you heard this today, Rach? It was
I
on the
haven't.
on the court circular. The Princess of Wales had a meeting in I think quote me if I'm wrong. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, royal community in the comments, in Windsor Castle today about the carol concert. So we know that it will happen and that we can't say for sure, but it's more than likely that the Princess of Wales will be at the carol concert. It feels like some kind of normality. I'm like, yay! And this is what
Yeah.
the engagement we love every year, don't we, Rach? This is the fourth year.
Yeah, it's so brilliant. And I really hope that, I mean, we if you know us royal community and you follow us on Instagram as well, keeping up the Windsors pod, you'll know that we don't post paparazzi photos, but William and Catherine were actually seen going to church at the weekend with the King and Queen Camilla. And I think it would be really lovely. We had it last year. The King and Queen Camilla attended, and I just think it would just be so lovely for us as royal fans to see all of them together to reassure us that we're on the up. As we've said before, we've got the King and Queen Camilla's tour of Australia and Samoa coming up in the next few weeks, so that's something to look forward to. So maybe or maybe not, we'll get a health update about the King. But I think it's a sign of that things are on the up, because if they weren't, then they wouldn't be going on that big tour.
Mm,
And Catherine, I think she knows, and it's probably being fed back to her by the people that work with them, how much like people enjoy the service. because it's just so lovely to watch. You know, it's not necessarily about Catherine normally attending. It's about, obviously, throughout the year, the charities and the people that the Prince and Princess of Wales have worked with, have visited. So it's just a nice place for people to come together and to celebrate the year as a whole. And I think this year will be something to, especially for the royals themselves, something that they really reflect upon. And maybe, maybe that will be reflected in the King's Christmas speech this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Do you know what? As you were talking, we've just had a comment which I was laughing at. But first I want to just give this comment here, which is exactly the same. Hi, happy to hear Carol concert will be back this year. Yes, thank you so much for your comment. Thank you. We are so happy, and yeah, just glad for it to be back. I agree with you as well, Rach. I think them together showing that like a unified force will maybe bring the, do you know, that power dynamic the four of them had at the James Bond premiere when
Yeah.
Catherine had that gold dress, Queen Camilla was in that blue, they're both in their tuxedos. There was just such a like, power, we're here. And I feel like we need that. We really do need that as royal fans. And this is the comment that I started laughing at. Is from Buck. Hi, Buck. And
Hi, Buck.
Michelle sipping a gin like Queen Mum.
It's not gin. No, it's not gin.
This is bubblegum pop, everybody. It makes your tongue blue, and I'm here for it. I just needed to feel like a little kid today, so I bought some pop, which what's other people call pop, Rach?
Fizzy drink.
Soda, like
Fizzy,
a soda. Yeah.
yeah.
It's bubblegum flavored, so yeah, I highly recommend. I love it.
Very healthy of you, Shell.
Yeah, of course. And also cherryade. I love love a glass of cherryade. Not the gin, I'm afraid.
Not the gin and Dubonnet, no.
No Dubonnet in this one, absolutely not. No. Petra said that she loves seeing some other royal family members doing such incredible work. Absolutely. And also left another comment saying, I'm full of admiration for Sophie and Edward. They do incredible work to make a difference without fanfare like certain other people. I wonder what other people you're talking about, Petra. I wonder who that could be. Maybe the Duke of Kent? I'm joking. Yeah, 100%. And I just think, like, wouldn't it just be so cool if we saw Lady Louise in like a royal duty? I would love, like, or even just go on an engagement. I would love to see Lady Louise on an engagement.
Yeah, said it. It's
not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Of course not. And I saw a picture this week of the hobnob, the Princess Royal, and her husband seeing a picture, they went to the rugby, and Lady Louise was there in her army uniform, and I was like, this is so cool. So maybe we'll see
real?
Yeah, real, apparently so.
Really?
If it's not royal community, my apologies. I don't mean to spread anything. Yeah,
I was going to say I've not seen anything about that. I'm sure I would have seen that. Are you sure it's not AI?
No, it's not official. It's a pap shop.
Right. Okay.
I'll send it to you, Rachel, and we'll break it down. Is it right or not? And you know what, royal community, you have to be so careful these days, because you're so right, Rach. The amount of AI stuff that's out there, and it's quite believable, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I might have been taken for a fool. Who knows?
I was going to say, I've not seen that anywhere. I'm sure I would have seen that on Twitter or Instagram.
I'll send it to you. Yes, so lots and lots of great news coming up with the royals. Like I say, if we get the Carol concert, that's absolutely incredible. We've got the King and Queen Camilla's royal tour, which I'm so excited for all of our royal fans across the world. They get to see the King and Queen in person, which is such an experience. And if you are there and you have got the chance to go and see them, go and say hi. It's such an amazing experience, isn't it, Rach?
It's just like a fun day out as well, especially as a royal fan. And if you get to experience with other people, or even if you go by yourself, you'll just make friends with the people that are around you.
Yeah. It's quite interesting how that happens, isn't it? Because I think
Hmm.
sometimes depending on where you are, like when we met the king, we were in like the middle of a city and everyone's kind of going about their business, going, what are they queuing up for? What's happening? And all of a sudden everyone's like, it's so and then we all start talking and you just create a little buzz within the area that you're waiting in. And it depends on how long you're waiting as well, and there could be quite a crowd, and you just meet some amazing people, such amazing people.
Yeah, and if you want to see our experience of meeting the king, we've actually got a YouTube video on that. So go and check that out. It will be in one of our playlists.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for all of your comments today. Thank you so much for being here and watching. We will see you next week for another live show. Head on over to our Instagram, Keeping Up with the Windsors Pod, for daily updates or any stories that we pop up on there. And make sure, if you haven't yet, to go over to any of your podcasting apps and listen to our podcast, Keeping Up with the Windsors.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you want to become part of our VIP Royal community over on Kofi, where we have a monthly Zoom call, which we had last week.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's
Yeah.
lovely catching up with our Royal community members over there. And we also have a private Facebook group. So if you want to become part of that, then the link will be in the notes as well.
Yeah. Actually, just before we go, I think I remember saying in last week's live that I was going to just give you a quick synopsis of the Right Royal Scandal. I did watch it. It's on Amazon Prime right now. I highly recommend that you watch it. I really liked it. It wasn't The Crown or anything, but it gave you some really good angles on the actual interview with Emily Maitlis and with Prince Andrew and all the backstory. Some of it is dramatized, but it's great to have a different opinion of it. And yeah, let me know if you've watched it in the comments and what your thoughts are on it. And I would highly say it's a good watch. So yeah, get your snacks, press play, and enjoy. Thanks so much for being here. We will see you next week on Keeping Up with the Windsors.